What a mess. This hasn't been cleaned in years.
I come before you today with 3 questions. Why the hell, of all the character archetypes that crawled out of the primordial ooze, was the Valley Girl a thing? Why the hell is the Valley Girl still a thing? And why the hell is the Valley Girl still a thing in places other than the United States? The answer to all 3 of these is, unfortunately, rather simple. Like all other character types, they have a basis in reality, for better or worse, and people can relate to them, either by being around one at some point in their lives, or just by being one themselves. However, with that said, I don't think I've ever seen another character type more horribly misused than that of the Valley Girl. The main reason for that is because whenever it is used in today's day and age, it is used to do one of 2 things. To make a commentary on materialism and, oh, how vapid we as a species can be, because God knows there's no one else saying that or anything. Or to cash in on the annoying equals funny crowd, which is not only a form of comedy that just doesn't work for me, but it honestly amazes me that it works on anyone to begin with. I mean, when I watch TV or movies, I do it to get away from people like that, not to be reminded of them. Then again, I am on YouTube where this kind of thing thrives, so I shouldn't complain too much. So, what happens when you take a stereotype that I already have no patience for and cross it with a franchise that, at best, is a guilty pleasure? Well, then you get Totally Spies! And from the title alone, I want to punch a hole through something. Totally Spies, an animated show made by French company Marathon Media in 2001, originally started out with a concept of musicians, with the intent of marketing the characters as a real-life band. Think something along the lines of Gorillaz, only nowhere near that awesome. But for one reason or another, they dropped that and went with a secret agent angle instead. It stars 3 high school girls. Sam, voiced by Jennifer Hale.
I'm Commander Shepard, and this is my favorite store on the Citadel.
Alex, voiced by Katie Lee.
Yeah, and I'll be Obi-Wan Kenobi.
And Clover, voiced by Andrea Baker. I think this was her. Who are all secret agents of the... That's the sound of the police! Yeah, like I said before, it's Charlie's Angels with Valley Girls. I could just end the review right here and have said all I needed to, but where's the fun in that? Let's dive right into this piece of shit and see exactly why what I'm holding on to today is most certainly not golden. After the intro music that sounds like weak sauce surf rock that escaped the 90s, which is especially ironic given how one of the show's creators has gone on record saying you need good music to make a good show, we open on some Girl Scout analogs shilling for cookies. Yeah, at least in the areas I grew up in, this wasn't really a thing. True, our school sometimes got us to sell some brand name chocolates to our neighbours for fundraisers and for charity, but the whole Girl Scout thing isn't as big over here as it is in the US. And even if it was, I'm fairly certain no one around here would buy anything with that face on it. Anyway, these happy girls try to sell some cookies to this woman by giving her a free sample. Wow, it's like a party in my mouth and everyone's tripping balls. She then proceeds to buy every box they have as we see our episode title, Passion Panties. Patties, I meant Patties. Freudian slip on my part, actually, because now I know that no matter how bad this is, it's still not as bad as arcade gamer Fubuki.
When Fubuki's skirt is blown up and the passion panties reveal themselves, the entire universe's gaming spirit descends upon Fubuki, and she then becomes the invincible arcade gamer!
Moving swiftly on, our 3 beanpoles are at the mall shopping for clothes.
'Cause all the girls do it.
Clover tries on one of the hats that doesn't quite fit and is aghast when the lady suggests trying on a bigger hat size. Okay, not being a girl at any point in my life, despite what my mother likes to think, I can only speculate on this, but is this seriously an issue? I mean, I know the cliche is that women are catty to each other and criticize pretty much any part of someone else's body that isn't perfect, but I find it very hard to believe that hat size is one of them. The only time I've ever seen a girl criticize someone's head size, it's usually in relation to something else. Anyway, Clover gets pissy when the smaller hat, you know, the one that doesn't fit her anyway, is given a token bitchy girl, and the fuck? Well, no better time than now to address this. The animation style for this show, as you can probably tell, is very anime influenced, with a lot of big expressions in the character models. Although, the effect itself isn't that noticeable, even for a stylistic choice. At least with other shows like Teen Titans that do the same thing, they have a bit more fun with the concept and use it more fully. Here, the style itself is pretty much just allocated to the character models, and even then it's pretty damn restrained. But hey, if this was the only problem with the show, I could easily overlook it. The girls leave the store and decide, on a whim, to enter a photo booth and are sent right into Whoop headquarters. Yeah, apparently the organization just booby-trapped everywhere in town with the technology to bring the girls in whenever they were needed, without them knowing where they are. You know, for a secret spy organization, I'm surprised you guys managed to keep this under wraps for even a day, given how easily civilians could be brought into this facility by accident with a setup like this. They are brought in by Jerry, played by...
No time for fooling girls.
Jess Harnell? What the Sam Peck and Scratch are you doing here? You are wacko, for crying out loud. You are so much better than this. Anyway, Jerry, in a career move that makes the Cleveland show look like a good idea by comparison, is our team's version of both M and Q, giving them their gadgets and their mission for the episode. They're told that people's addiction to the passion, Patties, are causing them to go a bit crazy, like Black Friday level crazy, and they need to infiltrate the Happy Girls and put an end to this before it gets worse. The cookies, I mean, not the episode. No, that would be too kind. They're given their Deus Ex gadgets for the day and sent out by Turbo Change-O Pod to the local bittersweet cookie factory. They manage to bluff their way into being couriers, a notion that makes even less sense when it ends with them leaving and the woman in charge being immediately suspicious of them and yet not stopping them. I guess it's better to be lazy than stupid? On their run, Clover, brains trust that she is, tries one of the cookies that she already knows has driven more than a few people insane. She gets hooked, of course, and it is only then that Sam decides to send some off to Whoop for analysis and... Wait a minute! The mailbox just changes to send stuff to Whoop? How? Voice control? And I can only hope that this is a special mailbox that Whoop set up specifically on Plot Convenience Street, or else some people, again, might notice and get a tad suspicious when their mailbox disappears into the fucking ground. They go back to the woman from the start and... While every logical part of my brain makes me want to question how she gained that much weight that quickly, given how this is only supposed to be a week or so after the beginning scene, my brain is just rejecting the answer that they give later on. The rest of the neighborhood apparently smells the cookies, I'm guessing, and comes charging at them, with some remarkably thin customers, all things considered, but they manage to get away thanks to Deus Ex Gadget number 1. Clover just keeps eating the cookies herself, and I seriously begin to question both Sam and Alex here. After seeing what those things do to people, especially now they've seen it firsthand, shouldn't they just get rid of those cookies and at least make a token effort to help her, rather than just blandly telling her to...
Put that cookie down!
Sam calls up Jerry, who sends them to Dr. Bittersweet's laboratory in Switzerland, while also getting hooked on the sweet stuff. Given how the factory they were just at a minute ago was named after her, why didn't they try looking up Dr. Bittersweet beforehand? I mean, the act of infiltrating on its own was pointless, since the information they got was in a throwaway line from one of their customers, not even from one of the officials of the company. They didn't even need to disguise themselves as couriers. They could have just asked someone. Even in a 20-minute episode, they still feel the need for padding. They get on a plane right to the factory and sneak into the laboratory through the tour.
Personally, I'm not enjoying this. Tell me about it. This is the worst.
As your big grin clearly indicates. They get off the tour with a little help from Deus Ex Gadget number... Actually, that moisturizer wasn't even one of the gadgets. Jerry just gave them to the girls because they were...
A free sample that came in the mail.
Ooh, I love free samples. Nordic moisturizing cream.
Well, don't want you girls getting chapped.
It's like they're actively trying to piss me off at this rate. We get some fat person slapstick. I'm surprised they didn't try to play Indiana Jones over this scene. And they use Deus Ex Gadget number 2 to get to the assembly line, where they see how workers' comp is handled in a place like this. wonder if Bittersweet owns a sex toy company. They lose track of Clover because they apparently still haven't picked up on how desperate she is for a cookie fix, and they get into a fight with the women they bowled over just before. I never knew that massive weight gain gave you super strength. Maybe I should give the Bob diet plan a try. Sam and Alex make their way to the center of the operation and to the secret ingredient of the patties.
Alex, no! That could be Bittersweet's secret ingredient.
And Alex needs to be told not to have a taste of it.
Dum 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 dum.
So, just to recap, the fate of the world is at this moment in the hands of two idiots who are so unobservant they wouldn't notice oncoming traffic barreling towards them, and the G-rated equivalent of a junkie.
We are so screwed.
Sam gets a sample of the ingredient and discovers that they plan to take the operation global, despite the fact that they are already shipping overseas to get it to the US, and I really need to stop putting logic into this crap. Also, notice how there are no shipping marks for Australia. Apparently our wildlife is so bad, even the supervillains want nothing to do with us. Don't know whether to be insulted or thankful for that. Dr. Bittersweet catches them in the act, and from the looks of things, one of her descendants is going to take over the world with robots in the not-too-distant future. Her goons fire on them with cookie guns. When people say eat lead, they don't mean it literally. Alex makes some nunchaku out of a handkerchief and some sticks that she pulled out of her ass, I'm assuming, and the villains run away, only to catch up with the girls when they reconnect with Clover in the very next scene. Dear God, the pacing in this episode sucks! So, the girls have now been captured by the evil Dr. Bittersweet. What's she gonna do with them?
Have all the donuts in the world!
You have no idea how much I wish I was kidding. Yeah. She literally tries to kill them by force-feeding them her cookies. While this face-desking moment is going on, our villain gives a required monologue on her motives. She was once a happy girl herself, but got kicked out for eating the cookies instead of selling them, so now she wants revenge? This makes the asthma monster look positively nuanced by comparison. The villains, of course, leave without seeing the three of them actually die, and Sam gets out by... Oh, bullshit! What, did she telepathically squeeze the tube to get the moisturizer out? Even for this show, which has shown some pretty dumb shit so far, this is fucking stupid. They make it out of their bonds, and Clover reveals that she managed to stick Deus Ex Gadget number 3 onto Dr. Bittersweet, so they'll be able to track her down. They then jet their way over to Iceland. Let me guess, it's covered in ice, right? Yeah, I don't care whatever social message you are trying to convey. You have no right to be teaching kids anything other than be smarter than this. So they sneak into the warehouse where Bittersweet is, and they start questioning what her obsession with cold climates is.
It's probably because of the cookies. See, heat makes them all melty. So sad, isn't it?
What the... What? Then how do you explain them shipping off to warmer countries? Do cooling systems not exist in this universe? Am I going completely friggin' mental here? Let's just get through this. They take out the goons with required bad puns during their fight scene.
I don't know what kind of half-baked idea you're cooking, but you're about to be toast.
Back off before I get all time on you!
As dumb as the Charlie's Angels movies were, you're still worse. Don't try and kid yourself, Totally Spies. Alex is saved by the stupid telepathic moisturizer again. God, the things this show are making me say. And turns up the heat. Wait, so they do have cooling systems? Then why the fuck do they need to bother with moving production to colder countries of... Yo! Oh, God, my head hurts. Dr. Bittersweet tries to stop them, but she is given the sample of the secret ingredient that Alex took earlier. She gets a major stretching out, and she is now hopelessly addicted to the cookies herself. Do unto others, I guess? The day is saved, Bittersweet is hauled away, and Jerry reveals that the secret ingredient, you know, the one that made everyone hopelessly addicted and managed to make people fat way before they should, is in fact highly concentrated sugar. Yeah, because human taste buds don't react badly to foods that are over-sweetened or anything. And Wait, that means that Jerry got that from the cookie samples the girls sent in earlier. Which means that coming all the way out here to get it from the source was, once again, completely fucking pointless! And we bookend this tripe with Clover going back to the mall and deciding that she will get the largest sized hat. Thank God we are done with this shit! As if I haven't made my point clear enough yet, this show is just plain awful. The writing keeps making its own plot redundant at every turn, and tries to hide behind the veneer of we're making fun of spy genre cliches to make up for its own failings, in a classic case of trying to have your cookie and eat it too. I will admit that the acting, despite my snark earlier, really isn't that bad, but then again they aren't really given anything to work with. The animation is definitely subpar and feels like they just shouldn't have bothered with the anime style to begin with, and the comedy just isn't there. Aside from the bad punning in that ending fight scene, I literally could not find where the actual punchlines were. And you know what? While I would normally give this show a token amount of credit for a good moral message, let's actually examine this message for a second here. Clover has body issues, is forced to experience the extreme of those body issues through severe weight gain, gets made fun of by her own friends because of it while they do very little to actually help her, and only comes to terms with her situation after she loses the weight in an off-screen display of plot convenience, instead of having her accept the fact that she's overweight because girls won't watch shows about fat people because shows like this make it unfashionable. The intent of the episode is garbled beyond all redeemable limits, so I'm not even giving it the bare minimum amount of slack. I wish I could say that this show was rightfully canned and left to rot in the far corners of the internet after its first season, but unfortunately,
it's still going on.
This show is up to its 6th season as of late last year, along with a theatrical movie, a spin-off show, and God knows how much merchandise they pumped out for it. Well, I'm good and depressed now. Join me next time where I'll be looking at some actual anime, and hopefully, it will be at least partially better than this.